What's going on, guys? I'm Cliff Jantz, and this is It Any Good? With this video, we're going to discuss the latest movie from DC and Warner Brothers, and that is Joker. This is a standalone movie. It has nothing to do with any of the other movies in the DCEU. It is directed by Todd Phillips, the same guy that gave us Old School and the Hangover movies. This is by far probably his most mature or serious movie yet. He does a good job with that. This movie stars Joaquin Phoenix as Arthur Fleck, Robert De Niro as Murray, a talk show host, Zazie Beetz as Arthur Fleck's neighbor. And then this movie just involves Arthur Fleck, who's a lower class citizen of Gotham. He lives at home with his ailing mother. He works as a clown, advertisement clown, flipping the signs for stores, and he suffers from a condition that causes him to laugh when he's in uncomfortable situations, and he can't. It's uncontrollable. He can't stop it. And it's just about his slow descent into madness. Um, Joaquin Phoenix in this role, I thought he does a phenomenal job. He does a great job of making you feel bad for this character at the beginning of the movie. And then by the end of it, you're absolutely terrified of him. One of the things that I did while watching his performance is, I sat there and thought about, oh, this is the same guy that played Johnny Cash in Walk the Line. And he is playing this character who, quite frankly, at times can be painful and uncomfortable to watch. In a good way, though. It's the purpose of the movie. But he just does a phenomenal job. I thought, Oscar nomination, definitely Oscar winner. I don't know. There's still a lot of really good movies left to come out. But definitely, I think he deserves an Oscar nom for sheer fact of the amount of weight he lost for this movie. Because in the beginning, he is really skinny, and even some of the scenes that are uncomfortable to watch are him without a shirt on. And then as he becomes crazier and crazier, he starts presenting himself better and better. But that was all part of Joaquin's performance. I thought the other actors did a great job in this movie. Robert De Niro as this talk show host that kind of makes fun of Arthur Fleck about halfway through the movie. Zazie Beetz as the neighbor. They give her a decent little story. I wish they gave her more to do than what they gave her, because she did a great job in this movie. The story itself, they do a great job of showing this character's descent into madness. It's kind of what I wanted Brightburn to be a few months ago, where that movie, it's just the kid hears a signal, he becomes evil right off the bat. No, this is society beating this guy down and slowly making him go crazy throughout the course of this movie, and also doing it while making you feel bad for him. And then by the end of the movie, you're just terrified of him. And they do a good job with that in the story. I liked Gotham's backdrop. You see it from a different perspective than the billionaire superhero. You see it from the lower class citizen who sees how bad it is on the streets. And they do a good job portraying Gotham. I think this is in the 70s. Another thing with the story, go back to the story for a second. They do some stuff that they leave it up to your imagination about whether or not Arthur Fleck does some of the things that they kind of hint at he's doing, but at the same time, you don't want to believe that he's doing it, so they just say, we're going to leave it up to the audience imagination. And I thought that was very well done. For me, there are a few bad things. The pacing of this movie, it's a lot slower than you would think. It's not your typical comic book movie where it's action scene after action scene. It is a lot slower, which is not a bad thing. I enjoyed it. It kept me entertained for 2 hours. But don't go into it thinking it's a typical comic book movie, because it's not. I didn't like the way they portrayed Thomas Wayne. As a fan of Batman, it's not how I ever saw Thomas Wayne. Maybe I misinterpreted him, but you are seeing him from a different perspective than the perspective of his son, too. So I understand why they did that. And then also it maybe suffer a little bit by not having a hero in the story, because it kind of gets to the end and it doesn't feel anticlimactic, but it just feels like it's missing something. I felt happy with what happens at the end. I just felt like, okay, you're kind of missing something in a comic book movie without the hero. But all in all, these are small things that I got over pretty quick because of the story. don't take your kids to this movie. It's not a comic book movie. It doesn't feature Batman. It features a 10-year-old Bruce Wayne. But all in all, I enjoyed this movie. It's one when I left the theater, I didn't know how I felt about it. I knew I liked it, but over the course of the next day, the more I thought about it, the more I liked it, to where I eventually thought it was definitely one of the better movies I've seen in the past few months. I'm going to give Joker an 8 out of 10. Let me know what you guys thought about it in the comments below. Let me know who you think your favorite Joker is if you want. I'm going to tell you, mine's still Heath Ledger, but that's not taking anything away from Joaquin in this movie. But like and subscribe to the channel. My name's Cliff Chance, and this is It Any Good? Thank you.